feels very quiet the last couple of days, Gus. Any reason for that?
Yeah, I think that Queensland have gone into siege mentality, which is where they like to be. And I think New South Wales don't know quite how to play it. I think they're extremely confident and they don't like feeling that way. So neither side is wanting to say anything that's going to upset the opposition, and they just want to get into their own little bubble, prepare themselves well. You know, every time this comes around, I'm the first to warn people that Origin deciders up there in Brisbane are different, and that New South Wales, regardless of what's happened in the rest of the series, will face their biggest challenge. And I still believe that to be true. I have a great respect for history. But every time I say it this year, I've got this nagging thought in the back of my mind that Queensland just won't be up to it. I just think New South Wales will get them and get them well. So I hope I'm not wrong.
Where do you stand on that side of it?
Oh, look, I'm actually really nervous about this game just because the deciders are bigger. They get bigger and better every single time there is a decider. I think back to 2022 and the decider of 2022, Dane Gagai and a few of his mates basically taking on Matt Burton and punched him, and somehow Matt Burton gets sent to the sin bin also along with them, and they obviously managed to win that match. Look at this, he gets taken out and gets beat up by, look at this, crazy. Pushed over twice, then gets beat up after this, and I just keep thinking that they've brought Dan Gagai into this team because I don't think any coach is ever going to go out there and say, we need to do this, we need to prove we're tough enough and get involved in a fight. I don't think they'll do that. But when a coach is saying to you things like, you know, what are you going to do if this happens? You know, we can't take a backward step. We've got to stick up for ourselves. There's just that subliminal message going through to the player that thinks, okay, well, if this happens, if someone pushes me or gets in my face, I'm going to do something about it. And I think that's a natural reaction for a lot of football players, how competitive they are. And if that's what is going to fire Queensland up, you know, we'll wait and see if it happens. I don't think I'm sort of with Gus. I think that the Blues will be too powerful in the forwards. But you go back to game 2 and what New South Wales did to Queensland, they absolutely dominated. They arrogantly pushed them around like that was men versus boys. I've never seen a display of just pure brutality against a side like that. Like Latrell was just pushed them away like they were flies.
So if you're captain or coach in your terms, Gus, in this camp, are you, if you're Billy, showing clips of that and going, hey, I want you to react on Wednesday night?
I don't think Billy's saying he's going to react. I got no doubt they would have showed him some of those clips. Billy apparently made the whole team watch the entire video, so I've got no doubt they would have seen that and they'd be embarrassed by it. They wouldn't be telling them directly to go out and do that type of stuff. But as I said, indirectly, when you're a player out on the football field and you are doing everything you can to win a game, and someone's in your face, someone's pushing you around, someone's dominating you like you're dominating game 2, it's happening again, you think, I've got to change something here. It wouldn't surprise me if it boiled over.
There's no doubt that was deliberate, though. Michael Maguire, from the very start in the press conference with the glass houses sledge and then the players, they obviously would have spoken about it. And from what I gathered, they spoke about not just the first game, but over the last few years, even going back to when you were playing, Gal, Queensland, the art of getting under the New South Wales skin, pushing the boundaries to the nth degree, it's something that they have done for a very long time and been very good at it. And New South Wales, the point was, we can't be bullied anymore, and that was obvious in game 2 at the MCG. Did they overstep the mark a little bit in the second half? Or I think the referee started to try and ping them on it. And if it happens again in game 3, it'll be interesting to see how the two teams respond. But there's no doubt Michael Maguire has told his team, do not be bullied by these Queenslanders.
But what's Billy Slater's reaction going to be? Because they were bullied. They were bullied. Game 2, they were absolutely
Well, Billy
bullied.
played in that era, Gal. So you tell me, what was it like playing against that Queensland side who really didn't give you an inch?
Yeah, no, they got away with plenty. I'm just, as I said, I don't think Billy's going to go and say we've got to go fight them and throw punches. But I think he'll say things like, we can't take a backward step. You know, don't be pushed around by these blokes. And as I said, just that message in a rugby league player's head, I know what it's like. I know how hard it is out on that field and how much you want to win.
Gus, if you're coaching either team in this regard, heading into this, that old vision of Gagai v Burton, you're playing that in camp to the Blues to try and make sure they're in the right frame?
Right from the beginning of Origin time, right throughout the decades, Origin football has been a kill or be killed mentality. There's been an attitude of retaliate first. Don't wait to get hit, get in first. And that's how our game has been promoted. It's what the fans have always loved. Now, obviously, our game has been somewhat sanitised over the years, and we've tried to take the club football mentality and looking after junior league players into the biggest arena and the biggest sporting contest whatsoever. But they are playing for keeps. This is the biggest stage, and there is a lot at stake here for a lot of players, not to mention history in itself. So I don't know what the game is going to do with this. promote it like that, under the current regime of refereeing and rules and sensitivity that they have to this sort of stuff, I don't know what's going to happen.
How many?
I don't know what's going to happen.
How many do you reckon they could send to the sin bin?
Eh?
How many do you reckon they could send to the sin
Well,
bin? Like if it become
that's the
an
point.
all-in.
We saw in game one what happens when a team gets down to 12 men. So under the current refereeing and the scrutiny of the game and the sensitivity of the game, all right, which I think is way over the top at times, can you risk being sent to the sin bin by raising your fist to someone in anger or supporting a teammate or defending yourself in the face of hostility? Can you risk it? Because as the retaliator, you might get caught, not the bloke who actually instigated it. So, which was the old saying, retaliate first. And they were great days. It was a great day for Origin, great days for Origin. You know,
If it's a big scoreline late in the game, could things get messy then?
well, it's too late then to do anything about it. I mean, if you're worrying about doing that when you're beaten on the scoreboard, then you should have been doing that when the game was in the balance. You know, so
Yep.
I don't know how it will play out. I think the first 20 minutes. I've said this all week. I wouldn't miss the first 20 minutes.
Yep.
You can't win the game in the first 20 minutes, but you can lose it. And I think Queensland will be determined not to lose it in the first 20 minutes. And New South Wales won't want to give up the ascendancy they got in game 2 out of that period either. I think, and I don't know how they're going to do it. I do know that we had a game there a couple of years ago where there was absolute carnage, physical carnage in the early stages of the game. Players were leaving the field with HIAs and you know, getting stitches and blood and all sorts of things. I don't know what the referee will he have a trigger finger on sin bins for this one, given what happened in game 1 and the send-off and what it did to the contest. It puts everyone under pressure, and there's a lot at stake here. It's going to be a tinderbox up there in front of that crowd.
Are you worried about the standard that was set in game 2 in the second half with the refereeing? It seemed like it was a lot of nitpicking and making sure there wasn't any niggle. If that happens in game 3, are you worried about the spectacle?
Yes, I think everyone should be worried about the spectacle if it gets to that. The second half, I don't know that the second half refereeing would have been that way had the score been close. I think the magnitude of the score and the lead for New South Wales, you know, probably exaggerated the need for that, but it wasn't good. I didn't think it was in Origin class. I didn't think it was Origin worthy, the type of attitude that was taken into the second half refereeing. But these modern players have got a lot to play for. They've wanted to be at this level for a long, long time. We know the rivalry between New South Wales and Queensland. We know what it means to everyone. We know what that atmosphere is going to be like at Suncorp Stadium. It'll be hard to find a blue jersey in the crowd. It's going to be all maroon. And it's the biggest test that any New South Wales player, any New South Wales coach, any New South Wales team could ever face. It's probably the biggest test that rugby league has to offer, is to go and play against Queensland in an Origin decider in Brisbane. So what happens from there? Kill or be killed, I say.